And now let's get some insights on this from Pasig City Representative Romulo, who chairs the House Committee on the Basic Education and Culture. Good morning, Congressman, and welcome to Morning Matters.
Yes, good morning, Pauline. Good morning to all your viewers. Again, we all know it's been hot this couple of days, so this is really something timely subject matter to talk
Very
about.
timely, Kong. I mean, just last Monday, you have some schools, some cities in the metro already suspending classes because of the high heat index that was anticipated that time. Parang ang finorcast po kasi ng Pag-asa was 46 degrees Celsius. But this is not the first time that classes have been suspended due to extreme heat. Sanay po kasi tayo mga Pilipino, di ba, pag malakas po yung ulan, suspension. But now, also because of the extreme heat, it's become a valid reason already. Because you have students who are unable to focus inside classrooms. Alam naman po natin, may init po yan. There's no proper ventilation. But with what DepEd proposed, Kong, na i-adjust yung oras or to shift to online classes, is that doable? Do you agree with that, Kong?
Yes, Pauline, first of all, I think we have to admit that online classes will not be as effective as face-to-face classes. So for now, maybe that is the solution that DepEd has. If you recall, we came from an adjusted academic calendar. Before April, we already shifted to April, May, and we went through the same problem. And we all know that online classes, especially for K-12 elementary classes, it would be difficult to really be able to give quality education. So I think there must be adjustments, and it's not, DepEd must come up with better adjustments, not to shift to online. Secondly, the double shifting of classes is not really that effective also. We all know that because of the number of competencies and subjects, it has become difficult for students. So really, I hope DepEd really considers, first, I think we should really take a look at our curriculum. I think it is high time that we put our curriculum solely on functional literacy. Let us focus on the essentials so that the time that we have during face-to-face, it is something productive for the student. What is functional literacy? Functional literacy is simply that the student knows how to read and understands what he or she is reading. So, reading comprehension. Secondly, it is math grade level appropriate. Third, it is really the sciences. And all others, I think we can try to put in, but we should really focus on functional literacy from grades 1 to 12, especially for now that our classrooms are not ready for the rainy season, nor are they ready for the hot season. So instead of going to online, instead of limiting the number of class hours, let's focus on the most essential things. Reading comprehension, grade level appropriate, math, grade level appropriate. I think we should start doing that now.
But Congressman, what do we do about the suspensions? I mean, how do we use that time productively? I think, I remember before you proposed to shift back to the old academic calendar. Is that still something you advocate for?
No, our original academic calendar was really June, July to March. But then the pandemic came in. When the pandemic came in, if you recall, that was March 2020. When that came in, we could not hold graduations. And then that was going up now to the start of the next academic calendar, remember, June? But we did not know what COVID-19 was then. We did not know the effects, we did not know how to combat it. That is why there was a shift then. We shifted it to August to sometime to May. But then we encountered this problem about the heat, remember? And that time, we already had class suspensions. And we all know class suspensions and online learning is not helpful for quality education. So that is why we shifted back to this academic calendar, which is June, July to March. But now, maybe because of climate change, maybe the weather is really changing, but it's still March now and the heat is unbearable. That is why the solution really here is to cut the number of subjects and competencies, go to those that are essential really, and that is functional literacy, reading comprehension, grade level appropriate, and math grade level appropriate. Once we have that, then we can start assigning, then maybe at that point in time, asynchronous or online will be helpful already. Modules will be helpful because the student, the learner, at least they have the basics, which is reading comprehension and math grade level appropriate.
But Congressman, what about having proper ventilation for classrooms? I mean, when you talk about the heat, that's not going to go away, right?
That's
and every
correct.
year it just keeps getting hotter. It's being attributed to climate change. But what can we do about classrooms? Bakit po ba wala pong budget para dyan at laging sira-sira rin yung mga electric
Yes.
fan?
Pauline, in the long run, that is the solution. Let us fix our classrooms, our school buildings, so that they are weather resistant. But the fact that we have now is this: we have a shortage of at least 165,000 classrooms. Even if we had enough funds, we will not be able to build that many classrooms in 1, 2, or 3 years. Secondly, in urban centers, we have a problem on buildable space. So even if you have the budget, where do you what land do you use?
Right.
So that is why I'm saying, in the long run, that is the perfect solution. I think if we're able to make our classrooms weather resistant and conducive to learning, whether it's heat or rain, that's the perfect thing. But based on our track record and the circumstances surrounding urban centers, maybe it will not be possible to do that in the immediate future, not in 1, 2, 3 years. So let's go for that. But in the meantime, what do we do with our students, our learners? So let's adjust the curriculum. Let us focus on functional literacy, reading comprehension, age appropriate, so that they know how to read and they comprehend what they are reading, grade level appropriate and math grade level appropriate. Filipinos are by nature smart.
Yes.
On their own, equip them with the basics. They will be able to use technology in the proper way. They will be able to read books. And I think that is the solution. There's a long-term and a short-term solution. That is correct. Let's fix the infrastructure. Let us make the ventilation proper. Let us, if possible, some cities if they can put air conditioning or good ventilation, that's fine. But that will not happen in the next 1, 2, or 3 years. For a majority, we have 25 million students in our DepEd schools. We have 47,000 school buildings, schools right now. With 47,000 schools nationwide for DepEd, it would not be possible in 1, 2, 3 years to finally fix this. And with a shortage of 165,000 classrooms, so we have to have a short-term solution. Or else, what happens to our learners now?
Yeah. But I also wanted to get your thoughts, Congressman, on blended learning. There's a proposal to have blended learning for the summer season.
Again, Paulina, blended learning, for me, blended learning means there's going to be an online component.
Right.
And we all know online is not as effective as face-to-face. Second, we know based on our international assessment results, based on our local assessment tests, our NAT, Carla, ELNA, or the international PISA, say a PLM or TIMSS, we lack the basic functional literacy component.
Yeah.
Without that, if you do not have proper reading comprehension, if you do not have the basics, math grade level appropriate, once you do online, especially if Wi-Fi is not clear,
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, even Metro Manila, is erratic. So the student will probably tune out. The teacher may just tune out.
So kung ang sinasabi niyo po, kailangan face-to-face para dyan.
Face-to-face. But I know that there are limitations now, so let us now fix the curriculum. Let us limit it to the basics, which is functional literacy, reading comprehension, grade level appropriate, and math grade level appropriate.
Going back to the fundamentals.
Fundamentals,
basically.
yes.
Ayan. All right, Kong, let's move on to a different topic. We also wanted to ask you about the controversial comprehensive sexuality education,
Yes.
CSE. This has been implemented for many years now, right? It's part of the curriculum, sexual education.
Yes. First of all, in 2012, we passed a reproductive health law. Reproductive Health Law of 2012. Under the Reproductive Health Law of 2012, it defines reproductive education, health education. And it says there, anything and all that pertains to the reproductive system. So that is a law, that should be, that is what is being implemented. However, they introduced a new term. which is comprehensive sexuality education. That is different from
From the
reproductive
reproductive
health education.
Okay.
Comprehensive sexuality education is undefined in the Philippines. There is no law that defines that. So effectively, what happens there is that we adopt the foreign
From
definitions.
different countries,
yes.
yeah.
And that is where the problem lies. First, it can change anytime. Secondly, it is more comprehensive. It covers more subject matters than the reproductive health. When the proponents tell us that the problem with the Philippines is that overpopulation and things like that, that is the answer to that is the reproductive health, and we have that already, and we have a defined term for that. So why introduce a new term which is not defined under Philippine law? The only definition where that was introduced was actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, a department order. It is not a law. It is a
Simply a department
order. So that is the bone of contention. If you want comprehensive sexuality education, why don't you spell it out to the public? What do you mean by comprehensive sexuality education? What does that cover, and what is the objective? Why are the proponents? They seem to just they confuse us by using the two terms interchangeably when it is not interchangeable.
So for you, Kong, there's no need for it. I mean, you're already satisfied with the reproductive health education that we have right now? Or do you admit may mga pagkukulang din po doon?
Well, if the problem that the proponents are saying it is adolescent
Teenage pregnancy,
then reproductive health is enough. I mean, the definition under the law says, it is very clear, all matters pertaining to the reproductive system. Now, if the proponents have another objective, then that is when we have to publicly talk about this. Let us discuss it so that even parents are aware of what it encompasses. Right now, proponents dismiss it as for teenage pregnancy, but we already have an answer for that. So that that really begs the question: why are you proposing a new term undefined in Philippine law when actually? What is the objective? You have to answer that so that we can, the public can appreciate what we're talking about. The public can also give their 2 cents worth.
Well, Kong, you also have critics saying na hindi daw designed ang CSE, ang Comprehensive Sexual Education, para sa mga Pilipino. You did touch on it, right? It is based also on what other countries are doing. Let's say they're more liberal. So paano po ba, how do you suggest sexuality should be taught in the Philippines?
Yes. First of all, the proponents should not hide behind teenage pregnancies. They should be honest enough and direct enough to tell the public why they think we need comprehensive sexuality education. Once they are honest enough to tell the public what the objective is, let the public now ask questions, let the policymakers ask questions, and then at the end of the day, it may be acceptable, but right now, because they're hiding the use of this term under teenage pregnancy, which already has reproductive health education responds to that already.
Okay, Congressman. Well, you are also a co-chairperson of the Second Congressional Commission on Education, EDCOM2,
Yes.
and you recently released your annual report noong January. It's the
Yes.
second annual report of
Yes.
EDCOM2. Ang pinaka-salient point doon na nakita ko, Kong, is fixing the foundations.
Yes.
We talk about fixing the foundations. This is early childhood, right? The
Yes.
first 1,000 days. Help us understand, ano po ba yung mga pinaka-astounding concerns that you found in early childhood education here in the Philippines?
When we talk about early childhood education, that pertains to all Filipinos 5 years old and below. So that will also cover the first 1,000 days.
First 1,000 days.
But it is up to 5 years old, in fact. Because if you will note, a student enters kindergarten, at the age of 5 up. So below 5, they are really out in the community. Right now, the law that governs them is the daycare centers. Supposedly, they are supposed to go to our daycare centers, and there, they are supposed to be taught a basic motion, then develop your thinking. But the problem really is, it's nutrition.
Nutrition.
Meaning food intake. Based on that EDCOM 2 Year 2 report, it comes out that there is a report that only 25% of Filipinos below 5 years old actually receive nutritional food. According to the World Bank study, if you are stunted by the age of 5, meaning stunted physically, and also your brain development does not develop properly, then you are already stunted.
You're
and
way
you cannot,
behind, yeah.
And you cannot recover that anymore. That is what they tell us. After 5 years old, even if you go to K to 12, and we have the best feeding programs in our K to 12, you will never recover anymore the potential that was lost in your brain development and also physical development. So that is correct. We should focus now on below 5 years old, and the focus should be on providing nutritional food. Now, people will say, Congressman, but that is too much. We cannot feed everybody.
Right.
That's what they're going to say. That is why under the legislation that we have, it will really be everyone helping each other, the local governments and the national government. But the very basic thing is data also. There is no data. Maybe local governments have the data of how many pregnant women are there in their barangays, in their cities, but there's no central depository of that. We don't know what is happening to the first 1,000 days, how if they have nutritional food, if the mothers have nutritional food. Under this proposed legislation, that will happen now. We are asking all local governments to ask their barangays and themselves to have a department to oversee, and many of them have this data, but that data must be submitted to the ECCD so that we can make a national plan on how to combat first the first 1,000 days. But after that, when they are born, what if we find that there is some disability? Then we are also able to address that. So that is why early childhood is so important. And right now, under the proposed legislation, the focus, the objective is correct. We will focus on under five under. We will ask the local governments to provide us with the data, and the national government through the ECCD will be the repository of that, so that we can have a nationwide game plan.
Well, Kong, okay, aside from the early childhood concerns, meron din po yung nagulat ako actually personally, dun sa mga principal. You have a lot, several, is it 45% of DepEd schools with no principals right now in the country?
Or only have principals.
But or only have principals, rather.
That is part of the problem, in fact, that we don't have enough, we don't have principals, in fact, in most of our schools. Secondly, even our teacher career progression is not that strong. In fact, before the law was passed, the recent law that was passed, we did not have guidance counselors in probably 90% or 95% of our schools. We did not have a focused a program for our learners with disabilities. But right now, we've already passed the inclusive, the law on inclusivity for our learners with disability. That is now being fixed. We just recently signed the IRR for the mental wellness, so that we can possibly have at least a professional in all schools or in clustered schools. Of course, that's capacity building, and with the ECCD, and now I think anti-bullying.
Yes.
That is now, we've recommended for the DepEd to fix the IRR on that matter. And then with respect to the career progression, that is now being, finally now being fixed, but there's also a legislation that will follow. And then with the principals, I think DepEd is now taking a look at the qualifying exams for school heads, so that to see, maybe that's where the clog is. Secondly, to ensure that nakatutok na tayo and make sure that we have principals in all schools. And why is it important to have principals in all schools? You know why? The importance of having a principal in all schools is that a problem in one school, especially if you're in the Visayas, in Mindanao, will not be the same as the problem in one school here in Metro Manila.
Yeah.
Even in Metro Manila, a school in Quezon City and Pasig may have different problems. That is why you need a competent school head to be able to adjust. But now that we don't even have a school head, a principal in those schools, how can we expect these adjustments to happen?
Well, we still have so many to discuss about Philippine education right now. But we're running out of time, Congressman. Let's talk about your re-election bid for Congress. Here in the midterm elections in May, ano pong nagtulak sa inyo, Kong, tumakbo ulit?
Well, first of all, in the city of Pasig, we have many programs that I think we really want to finish. But I think the most important thing is that under the leadership of our Mayor Vico Soto, I will be very honest, good governance has really been introduced by Mayor Vico Soto. But good governance does not happen overnight. It does not happen actually in 1 or 2 terms. And right now, there are still many challenges. And I think...
what are those challenges, Kong, if I may?
Well, there are still those with a mindset not aligned with good governance. There are those that still want to go back to the old traditional ways. And I think the leadership of Mayor Soto here is so important. So I think the
So
support...
there's pushback?
Well, of course, it's been decades that and not only in Pasig. I think nationwide.
In the political system.
Yes, we've really had a traditional way of doing things. And Mayor Vico has introduced good governance. And the change is actually being seen and being felt. But then, of course, there's the steps. There's still many steps to take. So I think that probably is the overriding thing that we are able to see to the end, that good governance program is finally institutionalized.
Okay, Congressman, I have to ask also, if you get elected for this is going to be your final term as
Yes.
Congressman, are you already looking ahead of that as far as the Senate, if ever?
No, what I'm looking at is really there are many laws that we've introduced in the 18th in this Congress. We still have the ECCD. We have the voucher system that must be also corrected. And we want to oversight all these programs so that we can assure ourselves and the Filipino people that at least we have a good education system.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Congressman Romulo. We thank you for all your insights, and we'd love to have you again next time to talk more about the education system. All right, thank you very much. That was Pasig City Representative and Chairman of the House Committee on Basic Education and Culture, Congressman Romulo.